Welcome. Yes, review time. You saw those bots I got the other day, and this is a review of one of them. But before I get into the review, a little bit of history about the character which this bot is based upon. It goes back to when I was a kid. Used to live in Rugby, and like I said, I had my bots, the old gang, and then there was a kid next door who basically had a bit of pest power of his parents and was able to get his parents to buy him proper Transformers, and he had big Transformers, and this was about the time the Headmasters came out, and I can remember him having a couple of Headmasters, and one of the Headmasters he had was this guy, G1 Skullcruncher. Now this particular Skullcruncher, I decided I wanted a Skullcruncher, and last year, we're going back, Stoneleigh car boot sale back, I can't remember when it was, I think it was about April, May time. Anyway, there was a guy there, a toy seller, toy trader, who had a big box full of smashed up Transformers, and in this box was a Skullcruncher. Now it was missing the tail, it was missing the gun, and it didn't have the Headmaster. So it was just, well, he was in robot mode, but it was just this. And I was umming and ahhing about buying it, but because it wasn't complete, I didn't pick it up. I got some other bots. Anyway, fast forward to the NEC Toy Fair in September, and I knew the guy who ran that store was also affiliated to a store that was at the NEC. I was at the NEC, and that was where I found this dude. Now, this was on the stall that he worked with, even though he wasn't on the stall at the time. And this one was complete. You know, it was, well, as you can see, I've got all the bits for it. You know, it had the sword tail, had the Headmaster, and it had the gun. So I thought, yeah, I'll have some of that. I want a Skullcruncher. 45 quid I paid for this. 45 quid for a loose G1 Transformer, which I thought was really, really steep at the time. I thought it was a lot of money. And until I picked up G1 Megas at the December Toy Fair, this was the most money I'd ever paid for a G1, figure. And I'm pretty sure, now there's a bit of irony here, I'm pretty sure this is the same toy that I saw at the car boot sale in that box full of smashed Transformers. They cleaned it up and they added all its bits, but if you look in the corners, you can see there's little bits of crud all stuffed in the corners, which means it's obviously been dirty at some point in its life, and I'm pretty sure this is the same figure, the one I passed on way back when. So I've had two opportunities to buy this very toy. Now remember that when we go into the proper review. Anyway, I liked G1 Skullcruncher. This isn't a review of G1 Skullcruncher. I just really like him. And don't forget, Titan Wars this year. There's a rework of him coming out. I mean, look at this. Yeah, I'm going to be so getting one of those. But anyway, after getting this guy, I decided I want to get all the Skullcrunchers. Now, sometimes I do this with certain characters. I decide, right, I'm going to collect all the different versions of that particular character. I mean, Huffer's one of the characters that I'm collecting all the versions of, and I'm just need one more to complete my Huffer set. And obviously this guy's had two third-party figures, and he's got another a reworked Generations figure coming out. So yeah, I really like Skullcruncher. Now, subject of today's review is this fella. Toyworld H-03 Swampar. Their third party Skullcruncher. And here he is in his crocodilian mode. Now, this particular toy, I've gone through a bit of a mission to buy it. And like this G1 Skullcruncher before, I've basically had multiple opportunities to buy this very toy. And because of this very toy is now, how can I put this? If irony was a liquid, was a liquid, a tangible liquid, this thing would be saturated in it. It would be soaking in irony to the point it'd be gushing off it like a waterfall. That's what this toy means to me. And I look at it and it's a complex concoction of emotions of both frustration and elation when I look at it, and I think what I went through to get it. Because anyway, this is the first toy I bought this year, way back in January the 1st, right? The seller, I paid for it straight away, and then 2 days later the seller cancelled the auction. He cancelled it and gave me a full refund. And when I got a message from him explaining why he'd done this, because when I found the message, I thought, well, why has he done that? Why has he cancelled it? And then I found he'd sent an explanation as to why. Basically, this toy had been listed on his eBay shop for quite a while. And in the meantime, the toy had gone missing. It had been moved, relocated, packed away, and he said by his mother. So he'd lost it and he couldn't find it. And he said, so rather than having me hanging on, you know, paying for it and not getting my goods, he decided to cancel the auction and refund my money. So that was it. Boo-hoo, I haven't got my Swamper. So, yeah, that was that. But he did say to me at the time that if he found it, he would contact me and give me a 10% discount. Right? Anyway, fast forward to the end of the month, and I'm pretty much spent. I've spent all my money. I don't want to buy any more bots. And then I get an email from the guy. Found Swamper, I've relisted it. Are you still interested in it? Hell yes. Buy! So I bought it for exactly the same price I paid for it before. And I sent him a message and I said, oh, thanks, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was looking at another one on eBay that was slightly cheaper, because this was $64.99 plus £6.99 postage. And there was another one I was looking on eBay which was £64.99 with free shipping. And I was going to buy that one. But I said as much in the email to the guy. But after I'd sent him the message, I'd also reminded him about the 10% discount. I then looked at the other item and it had sold. So if I hadn't have bought this, I would have shit out on buying the other one. So there's some irony right there. But the fact is, I paid for it twice. I'd basically bought this toy twice, at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So this is the first and the last toy I bought in January. This is the first and last toy I bought in January. Oh, so you can imagine my feelings towards it. You know, it's the frustration I went through trying to get it, and I had to buy it again rather than buy it from somebody else. I had to buy it from the same seller. And he did give me a discount. He did refund me some money. He refunded me £6. But, you know, £6 of $64.99, that's not 10%, is it? Anyway, I'm not really bothered. The fact he gave me a bit of money back and it reduced the price of the toy down a little bit. And he could have, not, you know, sort of give me free shipping, which would have been perfect. I would have been well happy with that. But anyway, it arrived. I've got it. And it's here. Now, I had a play with this last night. And I am now really, really, really liking this guy because of the whole irony issue. He means a lot to me. There are a few little things on it that are a bit dicky, but anyway, let's go on to it. Here's his crocodilian mode, his crocodile alligator mode. Yeah, very, very blocky, very chunky. And I will admit there's a certain amount of, YouTuber made me do it on this, because I saw Badlamprey's review on this figure. And he did a really good job of bigging up Swamper. And some of the points that he raised, I'm just going to go over here. I mean, for a start off, how absurd is it to have a Transformer whose alt mode is a crocodile? It's not much of an alt mode, is it? I mean, he's obviously very slow on land. Probably a brilliant aquatics expert. He's probably fantastic at aquatic operations. But it's just a weird thing for a Transformer to transform into. A robotic crocodile. What's all that about? Anyway, going on to his beast mode, shall we say. Articulation. You've got the mouth that opens. Inside his mouth there is, you know, some flamethrowery type things. Now the head is kind of fixed. It does move down a little bit on the transformation joint, but there's no rotation on it. It's kind of fixed, which is a bit disappointing. Front legs are on these sort of hinge link things. They do sort of peg into place. They do go all the way round, though there is clearance issues to the back legs. You can get a little bit of tilt. And then the forelimbs, the feet are ball jointed, and there's quite a bit of movement in the elbow. Back legs, pretty much similar deal. They are pegged into the side of the body, but they go, you know, backwards and forwards. It's got now it's got a rotation joint up there and a ball jointed foot, so you can kind of get him in some sort of stomping moves. Tail is fixed. The back end of the crocodile doesn't really peg in beast mode very well, but anyway, he's got the cockpit on top, where his little headmaster dude sits inside. So there we go. That's the crocodile mode. It's all right, and I like to think it's quite a good approximation of his G1 counterpart, especially in terms of aesthetic, because, you know, I like to think, well, apart from the snout being a bit shorter and blockier, he's quite good. He captures the aesthetic of the G1 character a lot better than that Fans Project one. But, you know, if I'm going to collect all the Skull Crunchers, I've got to get one of those as well. So yeah, he's all right. Not bad. Like him. He's chunky. He's utterly ridiculous, but, you know, it's very solid. It's got that Toyworld dense plastic going on. It's got quite a bit of heft and weight to it. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now, transformation. It's not quite as simple as the G1, but, you know, there is quite a few bits to it. I've only actually transformed it once, so excuse me if I take my time over this. I might have to skip through some of this. And where to start? I think we'll start on the legs. First of all, separate the tail. Then there's these little flaps in here. So, come on. There you go. You open that. Then you flip them round. Then you come onto the front. Pull this flap down and flip them out. And then you pull the legs round. You then fill in, well, no, you don't do that just yet. Now the legs, the the crocodile legs, pull them out. You then got to twizzle them round. Oh yeah, no, you've got to do something else first. I've missed a step. On the top of the feet, you've got this bit here, which is quite tight. Oops. Like, you pull that out and turn it round. Yeah, these links are just sort of pegged into the side, and there's a mushroom peg on the bottom here which comes off if you apply excessive force to it. Right. So anyway, you sort of turn that round, and there's a little round thing that pegs onto there, and that pegs into there. You've then got the front of the foot. You bring that down, form a little foot skirt. Then you turn around to the back. turn that around and then reposition the foot and then have it facing out backwards, and that becomes his heel spur. So that's one leg, and then you bring the tail down and have it resting against the side of the leg. And you do the other side. Turn that round, pull out the foot, twistle it round, yeah, right, and then turn that round, do that there, fill in the skirts. And that's pretty much the legs done. There we go, got his legs. Now for the upper part. Bring the those legs back. These are his arms. You kind of have to pull them out like that a little bit, and then sort of move them to the side. Then pull the crocodile head down, move the arms up, then you've got to open these flaps, flip out the fists, and then pull these bits back and fold them up to form the arms. So you open the flap, pull it round and fold it in, and that's the arms. Now the shoulder pieces, you've got to pull them out sideways like that, and then you pull them down. And then spin them round until you've got the thing in position. Then you've got to twist this round, there we go, and then fold it in to make his chest. Now, final piece, these obviously crocodile legs, they're on these double linked joints, kind of like the wing joints on Toyworld's Dinobot Spear. Very, very similar. So now it says in the instructions what they are. You kind of do that with them, and then you just have it hanging off the back like that, which isn't fantastic, but hey ho. And there we have Swamper in his robot mode, apart from one little thing. We need a head. So here is Toyworld little Grax dude. Now he's pretty cool. He's got quite a few joints. He's got ball jointed shoulders. He's got ball jointed elbows. He's got ball jointed hips and ball jointed knees, so you can get him into some reasonably good poses. The only thing is the ball joints are very small and they're very prone to popping off, and when you transform him into the head, which I will do very quickly, you have to turn the legs around 180 degrees and then peg them together at the heels and then flip them up onto his back. And there we go. So you take your headmaster and then head on. And there we go. And now we have the completed Toyworld Swamper. Now, I mean, he looks fantastic, doesn't he? He looks awesome in his robot mode. And he just captures, again, the G1 aesthetic. So let's just have a look at G1 for a second. Right, so there we go. There's the G1. And there's the third party. And I think he does capture the look of the G1 quite well. But there's one notable difference. This one has got the crocodile head on the front. This one has got the crocodile head on the back. But Toyworld, in their infinite wisdom, have thought of this, and if you look on the back of the box, it shows you two versions of the robot mode. And the way this is achieved is basically you turn the headmaster around. It's very stiff to turn this guy around, and because his legs are so small, you tend to unclip them and pull them out of position. It's very tight. So then you turn the waist. Now you do kind of have to remove these bits to make this mode work. And there you go. There he is in his G1 mode. You see, it's got the cockpit chest plate, and yeah, they thought of it, which is really awesome. Another thing I've just discovered while playing with this is the headmaster. You can take this one out, and you can fit the G1 headmaster. They're interchangeable, which is all the more remarkable when you put third-party Grax onto G1 Skull Cruncher and you have a look at his stats. Bearing in mind, the G1 one does that, right? Watch this. He's totally maxed out, look. You put the other head on it and he gets like maxed out stats. Anyway, I'm glad that they're interchangeable. That's really cool. So anyway, we'll get to the articulation in this mode. Right, so articulation. The head does turn. It's on a ratchet. It's quite tight, and as you can see, one of his legs has just fell off because you have to apply quite a bit of force in order to turn it, and the ball joints are very, very small, and it doesn't take much for them to become disconnected. So if you're going to play around with this guy and pose the head, you have to grab it by the sides rather than the back when you turn it, and be very careful because it does like to fall apart. Yeah. Right. Shoulders. Friction joint all the way around. He does have a joint there which doesn't, no, it won't go up any further than that. He's got upper bicep swivel, 90-degree elbow on a nice ratchet. He has got fist swivels. He's got a friction waist joint. His hips go that far forward or back, depending on which way around you've got the figure. And that far forward and back, depending on which way you got the figure. He has lower thigh swivel. Oh, I forgot to open up the clearance flaps. And then the knee goes 90 degrees, but if you open these little flaps on the back of his leg, you can actually get it to go further, which is kind of mistransforming it. And the feet, he has got ball jointed toe and a ball jointed heel, so you can get tiltage on those to get a flat-footed pose when he's got, you know, splayed legs. So he's decently poseable. There is something else on this guy, accessories. He comes with 2 whopping great guns, which are kind of reminiscent of the G1 weapon, only a hell of a lot bigger and chunkier. And he does come with 2 of those, which he can hold in his hand. The pegs are quite tight. There we go. Gangster. Right, so you can do that. And another thing he's got, the tail sections, as on the G1, he can use his tail as a sword. So can this guy. Now he's got his tail pieces, which are pegged into these like little hinge joints here. They are quite stiff. Pop, there you go. Then you get this thing. Now this splits in 2, and you get 2 of those. So obviously there's 1 on each side, so you get 2 of these. And you get this other piece. Now this is very difficult to get out. It's very tight, so you usually need like a little tool to prise it out. And you get a serrated blade. And then you've got that. Now it's got like a square peg, but it does fit in his fists. Just about, like so. And he can hold the other one, obviously, because that's got a round peg on it. Like so. So he comes tooled up with blades, and he's got another 2 on the other side. So he's got 4 blades in total. What do you do with 4 blades? I suppose you could have them, you know, like 1 sticking out the bottom, 1 sticking out the top. Have it like a double bladed thing. So that option's there if you want it. So this guy comes, you know, pretty. He's got plenty of options. He's a bit. I mean, although I really love the chunky aesthetic on this guy, it does kind of work against him in certain poses. You know, his limbs are a bit too bulky, especially in his crocodile mode. But all in all, he's a very, very good figure and a brilliant representation, I think, of the G1 character. And as for Modern Skull Cruncher, I don't know what his involvement has been in the old G1 cartoon. He was obviously in it at some point. But more recently he's made an appearance in this issue of More Than Meets the Eye, only for 2 panels. The scavengers are watching a telebroadcast of this satirical stand-up comedian, and it just so happens to be Skull Cruncher, and he's doing this. You know, he's sort of taking the piss out of Megatron's infiltration protocol. Anyway, I really, really like this guy, and mainly because of the whole irony thing about having to buy him twice. But yeah, also I think, you know, like I said, he's a good representation of the really good representation of the G1 figure. He captures all that big blocky aesthetic rather well, better than the Fans Project one. And he's a big bot. He's definitely full on chug scale. He's awesome, and I would probably go so far as to say that this is possibly my first TF16 of 2016 bot. That's how much I like him. So yeah, that's been me, TFR Wilderness, talking a little bit about Toyworld's H-03 Swamper. He's great. And I'm gone. See ya. Goodbye.